and that's all we gotta do pretty much. And so now, as you can see, the image, like, like it follows, our mouse cursor, such that... Okay guys, so we are actually doing it inside of OpenCV right now. Check it out. How cool is that, man? We're becoming like a part of a meme or something by pasting, images here. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ivan here, and this is going to be a really cool video because finally we're going to learn how we can paste an image into an image in OpenCV, and that is used all the time when generating data sets or like augmenting data sets, like all the time, for like deep learning purposes, and for like basic OpenCV applications, and of course for making memes, right? So in this video we're going to work with this really cool Stonks meme image here, and yeah, so, and like essentially pasting image into image in OpenCV, like that is all about slices, taking slices of NumPy arrays, and that's what we explored in depth in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that one, go watch that one if you are new to the subject. But essentially, pasting image into image in OpenCV, like, first of all, the image that we want to like paste into another image, right, it's got to be smaller. So because like, if they're the same size, if they're like the same shape, we're kind of like just replacing the image. So it's got to be smaller, first, right? And then, we do that by essentially, as I said, like, it's all about slices. So the way we paste an image into an image is that we take the bigger image, right? And there we gotta define the slice along the height axis and the width axis. And that slice, it's gotta be the same shape as the, as the image that we're pasting, trying to paste into the bigger image. So, say this image here is 100 by 100 pixels, and say this one is 300 by 300. So somewhere along, on the bigger image, we gotta define a slice along the height axis and the width axis that'll be, 100 by 100. And then we kind of like say that, hey, this slice inside of the bigger image will equal to this, amazing smaller image. And, this way we can pretty much paste the smaller image into the bigger image. But of course, one thing is words, and another thing is actually doing it. And there are, some, really, cool things to consider when actually putting this thing into code. So let's do that. So here I got our like, basic webcam code that, like all the typical stuff, and we're gonna try to paste the Stonks image into the webcam frame here. So I have the Stonks image right here. So obviously the first thing we gotta do is we gotta load the Stonks image. So we'll call it like meme image cv2 imread stonks.jpg. And so now we gotta take the shape of the meme image. So we'll call it this like meme height, meme width, and meme depth, and that'll be of course meme image that shape. And now that we know the shape of the meme image, we also kind of gotta know the shape of the frame, so that we can sort of like make sure that the meme image is actually smaller than the frame. So let's also super easy to take that. Height, width, depth will be frame that shape. And now that we got that, we can print the frame shape. It'll be width height, we'll say it'll be, and print meme shape, and that'll be meme width and meme width and meme height, right? So let's check it out. So as you can see, the shape of my frame here, and by the way, this is not entirely accurate because I'm actually doing some cropping here to make my laptop's frame to be like the same shape as the external webcam that I use here. So let's first crop it in the same way that I do here, and let's compare the shapes. Right, so my webcam shape is 405 by 315, and as you can see, like the meme image is actually like 720p, so it's it's a lot bigger, and we cannot paste like we can't paste like we can paste my webcam into the Stonks meme image, but we, because this image is like so big, we obviously can't, it's much bigger actually. It's more like, we can't paste into the smaller image. So the way we can deal with that, is that obviously we gotta first, resize the meme image to be smaller. So we can say, right, so let's, before, taking its shape, let's resize it. So let's say meme image will equal to cv2.resize meme image, and let's make it like 150 by 100. So now we can see, here that the resolution of the meme image is smaller than the resolution of the frame, and so it can fit inside of the frame. So that's cool, that's amazing. Now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna define some really cool variables. We're going to define the indents, like the spacings along the height axis and along the width axis. So we'll say indent y for now will equal 0, and indent x will equal also 0. For now we can adjust those guys. But to see, what indents are doing there, let me first type out the code where we're taking the slice, and then I'll explain, what it does. So now that we launch this code, we see that the Stonks image actually appears, like it's there. Thank God. Inside of the webcam, window here, inside of the OpenCV window. But what the heck is going on here? Now this indents, and as I've said, and let's go back to the paint, because paint is like it's the the foundation of our society basically. So right, as I've said, what we're doing here is that we're defining a slice, like we're defining like a part of the bigger image, whether it's here or here or here, in terms of like pixels and indices of like numpy arrays, but we're defining a slice on this image. And this slice here, it's gotta be the same shape as the image that we're trying to paste, and that's the reason why we take the shape of the meme image here, for instance. So let's look at it, one line of code at a time. So indents are like spacings, right? By adjusting the indents, we can adjust kind of where our image lands. So if I say, make indent y to be 100 and make indent x to be 50, the image will have moved 100 pixels down and 50 pixels to the right, because here it's like 0 0 xy, and here it's like x max y max. So it moved down 100 pixels and right 50 pixels. And what's going on here in terms of code is that, as you can see, the first dimension that we can work inside of this brackets is height. So we're defining in terms of height, we're saying take the slice from the spacing, the indent y that we've specified here to be 100. So we're defining the indent along the y-axis to be 100. So we're saying like along the y-axis, along the height, that start from 100. Start the slice that that we'll be working with to be 100. Then we're saying so the slice where we're pasting the image, it's indent y, and the place where we end, the place where the kind of slice ends. So it starts here, it starts from the indent 100 pixels, and the place where it ends actually is this indent here plus the height of the image. So indent y, and like we start here, and the place where the slice ends is this indent y, as you can see here, plus meme height, so it ends here. And so thus we get this kind of like nice slice along the height axis that's the same shape as the that has like the same height, right? That has the same height that the Stonks image has here. So again, like indent y, and we start our slice here, and this the place where we end the slice is indent y plus meme height. plus the height of the image. And the same thing happens along the x-axis, along the width. So we're starting the from the 50 pixels here. We can, this is totally like a variable, we can like change it. So we start like from the side to make it be like it's 50 pixels. So along the height axis it's like 50 pixels here. So we start here, we start from the indent X, and we finish at the indent X plus image width, so that'll be here. And so thus you can see we kind of like define like this is like our like slice along the height axis, certain height, then it's our slice along the width, and so we get like some some slice here. And because we're using like the shape, the actual shape of the meme image to define the slice, the meme image then perfectly fits. So we define the slice. I'm saying the word slice a lot, so hopefully you're like not hungry for like some bread or something. But anyway, we define the slice, and then we can say that this slice will equal to meme image. So, and we can kind of like vary everything here. We can move the image, we can have it like say indent X to be 20 and index this one to be like 200. And then there's, it kind of moves around. But, the kind of like the place where the problems may start occurring, like there are like two now, cases to be on the lookout for. And the first one is that this is not going to work if, say, the meme image that we're using is is not three-dimensional, which is like it's not in because like it's a three-dimensional image, but if we have an image that's like grayscale, and it's got just like one dimension, like we can't paste it. So if our image was converted to CV2 CVT color image CV2 color BGR to gray, it would not work, because like we cannot paste like we can't paste a two-dimensional image inside of like a three-dimensional array. Like it just will not fit. And then the other thing is that once we have our image here, if we try to make it go lower than, like if we essentially try to slice it, and let me show you what I mean. Like if say indent Y is not 20 but is not 200 but 250, what'll end up occurring is that it will not fit, so it'll give us the error. So it's kind of like if it keeps going down and down and down, like and it goes beyond the frame, like it goes like lower than the height of the frame essentially, and it's not fitting anymore. Like we can't paste, like we can't take this image and paste it lower than the frame allows. So if that makes sense, hopefully it does. I'm pretty sure it does. So yeah guys, but as you can see, it kind of it kind of sucks, right, that we have to like adjust we kind of like if we want to have the image be in a specific spot, it kind of sucks that we have to like we specify the indents, then we change the then we like change them, then we launch it again, and then we looked at it, like we kind of want to be able to actually like just move the mouse around and have the image kind of like follow the mouse cursor, so that we can like have a better time adjusting where we want to put the image. And luckily, thanks to the awesome OpenCV function, we can actually do that. Like we can pretty much do that. So yeah, let's do that. So guys, check it out. So I basically went ahead and I pasted a few lines of code here. So the first one is that we're specifying our window, which is named window in our case, and we're calling this function called CV2 set mouse callback that will allow us to actually track, where our mouse is inside of the, OpenCV window. So, and in this function, we give this function mouse listener, and mouse listener, it's got a few events here happening for it. So the first one is, mouse move, which essentially gets triggered each time the mouse has been moved. And then we have the event called, left button down, mouse click. So for instance, right now, as you can see here, so these are like events, the mouse move event, and check out like kind of like the difference here. Basically, now, if I click in any part of the screen at all, it'll print essentially mouse X and the mouse Y coordinates here, because that's what gets triggered on the event that is left mouse button down. So when I do the left mouse button click, it gets triggered, and this happens. In case of mouse move, if we say print the mouse position when we move the mouse, it'll be triggered. It'll oh yeah, right. It'll be triggered. We can actually leave this print also. It'll be triggered. It'll be triggered whenever we like move the mouse. So right now the mouse, I'm not moving the mouse, so it's stays there 61, as you can see like here. But when I'm moving it, it gets triggered, and it gives us the the position, right? The position of the mouse basically whenever it gets moved. Now the indents that we used to specify where our image lands, right? Those indents here. So the indents that we've used actually to specify where our image lands, they're really like nothing more than like like this guy is it's kind of, we can think of the indent Y as being the top coordinate where the image lands, and this one is like leftmost coordinate where the image lands, which is like the indent X. And so we can pretty much what if we don't specify the indents here like as variables, right? And we can do that, and that'll be where the image will appear first. But what if we say that now each time the CV2 event mouse gets triggered, what if each time it gets triggered, when we move the mouse, it'll update the position of the frame. So for that purpose, we have here indent X and indent Y variables made global. So we can say here indent X will equal to X, which is where our position of the mouse cursor, which like where the X of the mouse cursor is currently, and the indent Y will be Y. So now, and that's all we gotta do pretty much. And so now, as you can see, the image like like it follows our mouse cursor, such that the frame gets updated, it gets the new position of the mouse, right? And then based on that new position, and I'll explain what happened now in a moment, but and with that new position, we can move around our image, such that such that we can, because the indents, the spacing, they get adjusted according to where our mouse is. So that's super cool in my opinion. Now what happens when we move this image somewhere outside of the limits of the frame is that we get an error, because the it's like there isn't enough space in the slice, right? So if the image has like this width and we're trying to like push it all the way there, like there isn't enough space, like like we're trying to paste an image like some way like this, and OpenCV obviously says that we cannot do that, or like NumPy says, and yeah, so we can't do that. But we can say do that, which is pretty cool, and we can play around with the shape, with the resolution of the new image. So we can kind of like make it bigger, for instance, let's say 200 by 250, and let's check it out. But by the way, for obvious reasons, the error does not occur when we get to the when we push through the top left corner, because the mouse cursor is at 0, so the image so like it works. But when we try to go above what the slice can fit, it kind of crashes. So I mean, that's reasonable. right? And so we can pretty much then do the same thing with like saving the meme, right? So for instance, I want to do something like this, and we want to like save your meme. Yes, Stonks meme, and that's it. Now we got ourselves a Stonk meme right here, and so that's that's pretty cool. And now the last thing that I'd like to cover here, and it's also pretty cool, which is how we can actually paste the frame of the image inside of the meme, and that's also pretty easy to do. The only thing here, the like only different thing here is that instead of pasting a meme image inside of the frame, we'll paste the frame inside of the meme image. So first thing we gotta do is to make sure that the meme image is like bigger than our frame. So let's make it like let's make it like 1000 by 500 something, right? And then we gotta change here that first of all we're gonna be taking the slice of the meme image, and we're gonna be taking the slice of the meme image and making it equal to frame. And here we gotta the indents, they stay the same, but we're gonna be using the height and the width of our regular frame that we take here. So we're using the height and the frame of the frame because it's the frame that now we're pasting inside of the meme. And so now we get and of course when we do that, we're modifying the meme image, and we gotta be displaying the meme image here. So let's check. Again, when we're displaying the image, we gotta use show meme image when we are gonna like the bigger image is the meme image, and then when we're saving it, it also has to be a meme image, because like otherwise you'll end up with this, and you want to end up with this. So yeah, let's check it out. Okay, something did not go as planned. Okay, so I made the Stonk image bigger, and check it out what's happening now. Because the frame, because like each time when we were moving the pasting this new image inside of a frame, like we were getting a new frame, but now this new image, like it stays the same, and the reason it crashed is because I went beyond the boundary here, but because this new image is staying the same, and we're constantly modifying it, we can kind of get this effect here, and maybe that's actually kind of cool. I never thought about making like something like this for this video, but I guess it's happening now, huh? The way we can fix that, is actually all we gotta do is to kind of make like a I guess we can do something like this. So let's say we'll let's say we'll take the original meme image. Will be meme image dot copy. So let's call it like original meme image. And now we kind of just like before, or like rather, each time it gets modified, we can say that meme image will equal to orig meme image dot copy. So this way, hopefully, now each time that we paste our frame, the webcam, into the meme image, it'll get reset to the original meme image here. So let's check it out. And of course it will and of course if you want to do that, we gotta do that before, because when we did that, we pasted our webcam inside of the image, and then we reset it. So we gotta first reset it, and then to the reset image we gotta paste our webcam, right? So that, yeah, and now we got it. And now we can ourselves become the stunk meme and be and so now we ourselves can become the Stonks guy and become a meme, because you know the only better thing you can do with memes than, you know, reading them and making them is to become a part of a meme. Because like check this out. So we can say, you know, yep, name your meme Stonks meme with myself. So obviously guys, we've covered a lot of stuff today. I hope that this was like really useful for you know, people who are, you know, figuring out the logic behind OpenCV. I think that in this video we had like a lot of cases, you know, where things went wrong and we figured them out together. So hopefully that's, you know, a useful learning example of like how to think about potential errors and stuff. And you know, hope you enjoyed this video, and like please, you know, consider subscribing, right? It takes like one click. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, and ways to support me are in the description down below. Thank you so much if you do. The code will be on GitHub, and guys, I wish you all the best through these tough times, and bye bye.